told me that saying a prayer on the 50-yard line was the thing that was going to get me in the biggest fight of my life. You cannot tell me that God doesn't have a sense of humor.
I am joined today by Joe Kennedy of the movie coming out this week, Average Joe. Greetings, Joe.
How are you doing?
Hey, listen, Joe, how long were you a high school football coach? First question I have.
Yeah, I was in my 8th season before things went sideways. So for 8 years, I dedicated myself to helping these young men become better young men.
Okay. So Joe Kennedy was a high school football coach in Washington State and in the public school district, right?
Yes.
And so how did this thing go down as far as your Supreme Court ruling about the free speech thing? You were praying on the football field. Had you been doing that continuously, or was it just once or twice and somebody didn't like it, or how did it go down?
Yeah, well, my covenant from the beginning, even before I started coaching, God kind of came through the movie Facing the Giants and really touched me. And I heard my calling for the first time. And I told God right there that I would give him the glory after every game, win or lose. So that was my covenant with God,
Nice.
Even before I started coaching. And that's what I did diligently. I had 2 games a week, one for varsity, one for junior varsity. And I did that for 8 years. Now, sometimes the kids came out, sometimes they didn't. I didn't really care because it was my thing, but it grew over the years. They wanted to know if they could bring the other team in, and free country, you guys could do what you want to do. So in the 8th year, we had all the teams in our league joining us on the 50-yard line, saying a prayer of thanks after football games, which was amazing in itself. Just for that, Washington is the most unchurched place in America, and
okay.
It was really awesome to see that God just showed up there and made this incredible thing happen. And then in the 8th season, somebody saw what we were doing and called our principal and shared with them, hey, I just want to tell you what your football program is doing is awesome, which led to an investigation, which led to their lawyers getting all squishy about it. And they thought it was better if I just stopped praying with the kids. And I agreed. I said, no problem. That's unfortunate because this is what, got you the compliment to begin with, but your school, your rules, I don't want to tread on anybody. I just want to coach football. And then, so that was fine for about 2 weeks. And then they said, well, we can still see you praying out there. So they gave me a letter of direction, and it said that I needed to choose between my faith and my job, which was a step too far.
Denise, could I see you in my office for a minute, please?
I want you to pray in the locker room.
Do you not see how absurd this is?
Kennedy, do your job and get them in the locker room.
I get it. It's not fair. Nobody cared for 7 years. Now they do.
I bet you can guess where this is going. I made a promise to God. And I can't let him down.
I believe they violated your rights.
How do you think the superintendent looked at me when I didn't even know my husband had filed a complaint?
So the administration was fairly forceful about it then, would you say?
Yeah, the administration was actually pretty good, but they folded completely to the whims of the pressure from like the social aspect of it and anything in the public eye, which was very unfortunate that the superintendent, who was a good friend of mine, goes to the same church as I do, is a believer. He was powerless to do anything. The people on the school board who have been friends, I coached their kids, and they were afraid of doing anything also. And it was just a sad set of affairs that none of them would stand up for what was right. And I seemed to be the only one that was doing it.
Okay. And at what point, Joe, I'm curious, was there a certain point in this thing early on, or a certain person or something that the Lord brought to your mind that said, I need to keep pushing on it. I need to forge ahead, stick to what I'm doing and keep going no matter what?
Yeah, I was sitting there talking to my team, and it came down to the last game. And I told them that if I prayed during this game, that I would end up being fired for it. And one of my team captains stood up and said, Coach, can't you just give in to this? And I mean, talk about the feeling of conviction. It just weighed upon me right there. And I knew that I asked these guys to do everything on a Friday night, and I don't care what's going on in their lives. I don't care how tough things are or how bad the game's going. You just continue to fight the good fight until there's nothing left. And that's where I was, is that would I just sacrifice everything I've been coaching and believing in? And that's been my mantra from day one. I would just fold because it would be easier. I would have been the biggest hypocrite in the world. And there's no way I could continue to coach. I wouldn't have been a good husband. I wouldn't have been a father. I would have just been somebody like that Peter guy who just denied, Jesus 3 times and pretended like he didn't know him. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And being American in the Constitution means way too much to me. And my covenant with God, I wasn't going to give up.
Okay. Hey, I want to ask about your wife, because there's a few times in the trailer you sent me, and in the trailer people can find at averagejoethemovie.com. And your wife, 2 or 3 times in the trailer, it shows the angst that she had about this. What really, I know there's probably a little bit of difference between your actual life and married life and the movie, but what really was your wife's concern at the time? Was she very concerned like the trailer shows?
We can't quit now.
But God doesn't need you to defend him.
I'm not defending God. I'm defending the people of this country.
Yeah, the same people who are sending us hate mail.
And that is their right.
This case is going to take years to litigate, and there's no guarantee a judge is going to rule in your favor. Are you up for that kind of fight?
You're appealing to the Supreme Court?
I can't stop. Not now.
It's been 3 years of our lives turned completely upside down. I have been the collateral damage to this whole thing.
Will you finish this with me? Because I can't do it without you.
That was actually a huge understatement of the way that things really were. Since she was the human resource director for the school district, you can imagine the entire pressure of the school system coming down on her and what her husband was doing. So she had it from both sides. She had it from the school side, and then she was on my side. And the battle that she went through, she thought, man, I'm a horrible wife because I'm not supporting my husband. I'm a terrible employee because I can't do my job adequately because my husband's doing this. And she was mad at God for putting her into this situation. So she felt like she was a horrible Christian during this time. And we almost got divorced over it. It came down to me walking out of the house, kind of like in the movie, but it was way worse than what it was in the movie. So it's a good dramatization that shows a little bit into the life of what we went through.
And what's your relationship with your wife now?
It is so good. I am glad you asked that. She is so incredible. The guys that did God's Not Dead, the Kendrick brothers, as I was walking out of the house, I received a text message which had a video attached to it that was Alex Kendrick, and he was on the 50-yard line where they filmed Facing the Giants. And he said, "Coach, I know you and your wife are going through some battles right now. I want to lift you up." And I mean, it showed up as I was walking out of my house, and my wife and I sat there and we just cried, and our eyes were instantly opened. And I don't know where it is in the Bible where 2 become 1. Well, that's what that means to me, is that we became one unit under God, and we've been living for him and together since.
Okay. There was a couple of mentions about God in the trailer as well. What has God taught you through this? Because this has gone on for 2 years now, right? A little over 2 years or so.
I made a promise to God. I can't let him down.
Well, the case went, it was 8 years in the making, from 2015 to 22.
Oh, okay.
2 years. Yeah. So it's been 2 years since they rehired me. But since then, God has just opened so many doors. All this whole entire journey has just, I'm speechless. I could sit here for an hour and tell you all the amazing things God has done and brought people into my life, the testimonies that I've heard, the strength and conviction in our faith, just going through all of this. And knowing that we survived the storm and we've remained faithful. My favorite verse is 2 Timothy 4:7. Fight the good fight, finish the race, and remain faithful. And I like to think that both of us did that, and that hopefully will inspire others, that if the average person could do this, imagine what we could do as Americans if we all stepped together and turned our eyes to the Lord.
Right. And so you're traveling a lot around the country now speaking. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to hit all 50 states. I've been blessed from going from the streets, preaching on the streets and sharing my testimony with people, all the way to the Oval Office. And matter of fact, this week I'm going to pray over JD Vance. And
nice.
God is just
where will that take,
amazing.
Where will that take place? Your prayer with JD Vance?
That's going to happen in Arizona right before he goes on to his debate. So he has a town hall, and I get to pray for him right before the town hall and his debate. Okay.
Coach Joe, is football in your future? You said they rehired you, but I didn't think you were actually coaching right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's in my future. I really am just taking day to day. I resigned my position. The school did not make it easy for me to go back, and nor did they want me back. And I thought it was better that I just leave under good terms and under our own power. That we prayed about it over the weekend after the first game, and I was able to take that final knee on the 50. And we prayed about it, and that was the first decision my wife and I made in 8 years. And so we left. We're taking care of my father-in-law, her dad, here in Pensacola, Florida. And I don't know what my future is. The school kind of made it a bad taste in my mouth and kind of took all the fun out of coaching. So I don't know what God has planned. I'm just going to go wherever I'm called and wherever He needs me.
Well, God's using you right now anyway. So it's like, in one sense, you're already doing what He's called you to do, or is calling you to do.
Yeah, I just wish you'd be a little bit clearer and help me out in school with you guys a little bit more.
Yeah. You've taken a class at Southern Evangelical Seminary with us. I hope you guys take some more as your schedule allows. But we do make that allowable. We make it convenient with the online. But anyway.
Oh, absolutely. You guys have been great. And talk about knowledge. As you know, I was drowning in the wealth of knowledge that you guys have shared. And I've tried to be being a sponge and just absorb as much as I can, because this is all new and incredible to me.
Right. But you're in your Bible every day for yourself anyway, right?
My wife every morning reads it every single day to me.
I had to put on my pastor cap there for just a minute. So, a final question, Joe. So the movie comes out this Friday, right?
Right.
So how's the excitement around that? I know you're busy.
I just try to keep my head down. I'm kind of in denial over it. I think everybody goes through that none of us are worthy of any kind of compliments. Right? Oh man, I'm keeping my head down and just thanking God for getting us through every single day. And hopefully we inspire other people. That's what it's all going to be about. Has nothing to do with me. You'll see in this story and in the movie that we're trying to inspire others. And I think they did a really good job with that message of inspiring others for their conviction in their faith, their marriages, and also the love of our country.
Amen. That's a good word. And there's a book out titled Average Joe as well, right?
Right. And that goes through a lot more of the details. You can't cram, 50 years of stuff even into a book. So the book is a condensed version of our life, but the movie is a condensed version of that. So if you want more of the big story, Average Joe it will give you it. And it's entertaining because I wrote it at my level, about an 8th grade level, where people can have a good time reading it. And it's an enjoyable read.
Okay. So the movie Average Joe comes out this Friday, October 11th. So, and I'll have a link to the trailer and the book down below, and people can check out averagejoethemovie.com, right? That's the correct website?
Yes, sir. averagejoethemovie.com.
Okay. Joe Kennedy, thanks for joining me on The Bible Professor. Lord bless you.
Thank you, Doc. I'll see you soon, my friend.